Wi-Fi 6, let's talk. Dell's latest developer edition of the XPS 13. How goes Linux on a premium laptop? A bargain phone gets a 400GB storage upgrade and more. All coming up on TekThing. A big thank you to our patrons Mike J, Daniel C, Darren J, and Jason. Join the crew that makes TekThing possible at patreon.com/TekThing. Thank you.
I'm Shannon Morse.
And I'm Patrick Norton.
And this is TekThing, where we have something useful in every single show.
Oh my goodness. There's a new Wi-Fi coming.
Yeah, there is. So it's called Wi-Fi 6. A couple of weeks ago, the Wi-Fi Alliance announced that it's going to rename all of the wiffies, all of your favorite wiffies. So here's a little bit of a rundown. 802.11 AC is now Wi-Fi 5. 802.11n is Wi-Fi 4. And the next gen of Wi-Fi will not be known as 802.11ax, but Wi-Fi 6.
Because that's one louder, isn't it?
Yay!
Sorry.
It doesn't seem that confusing, so all right.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, in theory, right? N, A, B, G, AX, AC, all those 802.11 whatevers were apparently too hard to understand. Okay, they're kind of a pain in the ass. And I would just like to say, can we agree just not to talk about 802.11n? Can we just forget 802.11 ever existed?
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I bring it up, right, because like N's real-world performance, not really better than Wi-Fi 3. I should say not N. Wi-Fi 4's real-world performance was kind of meh. I basically ran Wi-Fi 3. I will say, though, Wi-Fi 4 got so much better when Wi-Fi routers finally settled in and shipped. Is this really less confusing?
Well, it is if 6 actually delivers better performance than 5.
Right.
And I'm down with 4, 5, and 6, which makes G, A, and B Wi-Fi 3, 2, and 1, right? Okay, so just because it's going to be easier for me to avoid phone calls from, like, my mom next year asking if they want Wi-Fi 5 or 6 routers.
I need a new router.
So in that sense, yeah, it does seem less confusing.
Okay. Number. Oh, so you know.
Yay, numbers.
Let's change the branding horse.
Yay.
I'm also really curious to see 802.11ax 6 in the real world. Case in point, like AC's multi-user, multiple input, multiple output, or MU-MIMO. It hasn't really been useful in most homes because, of course, you require devices that have MU-MIMO support built into them. But 6 also promises higher data rates, more capacity in the form of like 1024 QAM broadcasting. So we're talking about more simultaneous data streams across 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. Orthogonal frequency division, multiple access, OFDMA, basically stuffing more data into the wireless spectrum compared to AC's, 5's orthogonal frequency divisional multiplexing, or OFFDM, which makes me think of KFMDM and other industrial bands. And better yet, the OFDMA, it can slice the spectrum into smaller units, which is going to help it, amongst other things, avoid interference from other routers. And with the operation mode indication, basically another chunk of technology inside of it, that's going to tell the router how much bandwidth the receiving device can actually use. So the idea is Wi-Fi 6 promises to make running more things more efficient. And
it's going to save battery life for IoT gear too, which I'm kind of looking forward to. It's going to be using this thing called target wake time, aka TWT. So for example, your thermostat would only connect when it actually needs to. So it's supposed to save battery. Yeah, so any of those items that you have in your household, they could potentially last longer, assuming of course that your thermostat supports Wi-Fi 6. And it'll probably take several years to see all of those IoT devices support Wi-Fi 6.
Just what you wanted, an excuse to upgrade your stuff.
Yay! I'm actually looking into upgrading a couple of my stuffs.
Your stuffs?
My DJI Osmo mobile gimbal, that gimbal thing that I have. They have the new one.
You have a gimbal addiction.
I do. It's true. Not so much a Wi-Fi addiction.
This would be your 4th or 5th motorized gimbal.
3rd.
Oh, okay.
I'm not that bad.
I take that back. I also, because I found that I was confused. There were several other gimbals that I found that I think were Darren's. Darren has the true gimbal.
Yeah, that's true.
High
Well,
fives,
well,
Darren.
gimbal tangents aside, if you want more wireless information, or if you want us to go into detail about the new differences and really get into it on a segment.
How to make your existing Wi-Fi faster.
Yes, we are always open to those kind of questions. So you can email us, ask@tekthing.com, or you can tweet us @TekThing as well.
Please do.
Since I am a Linux user, I've really enjoyed playing with the Developer Edition Dell XPS 13s because they are fine-tuned. Yes, it runs Linux. It's fine-tuned for Ubuntu. It comes with Ubuntu. You don't have to install it off of a flash drive. Already has all the drivers set up for the laptop, so like your printer actually connects to the thing. Your Wi-Fi actually works.
I mean, I'm making a laughing face here, but the reason Shannon keeps reviewing Linux laptops is because most laptops suck when you're trying to run Linux on them because the driver support's not. Well, yeah.
They've gotten better, but it's been an issue for years, and I've been working with Linux for 10 years.
If you want like a, so it used to be like this was a premium laptop, and the driver support was here, and now this is a premium laptop, and the driver support's probably here.
Yeah.
But if you buy a laptop that's running with Linux, everything actually runs for the most part.
And that's assuming that you're going to use Ubuntu. Like if you're using some other Linux operating system, which there's plenty of distros to choose from, you might not have much luck getting it to run on your computer. It has gotten a lot better in recent years. So like Ubuntu has a whole bunch of recommendations for laptops that they recommend that you use.
We know it runs on this list of laptops.
Exactly, yeah. So drivers may not work on all laptops.
Most distros, though, I think at this point are kind of like, hey, buy this laptop and all of our stuff runs.
Yeah, they've gotten a lot better. So Dell XPS 13s, the developer editions, those have been running for like the past 7 years, and it's been one of my favorite laptops to use Ubuntu on because it's been set up. It's ready to go, and it's really, really good for developers. In fact, the Hack 5 developer and the main engineer for the company has been using a Dell XPS 13 for a few years now to do most of our main programming for our devices.
Kali Linux?
No, he's not running Kali Linux. We only do that at DEF CON for funsies and fun times. So the newest version of this Dell XPS 13 that I have here has upgraded specs, and the design is upgraded. It comes with an updated operating system as well. So spec-wise, inside of this baby, it includes an 8th gen Intel Core i5. It's an 8250U CPU, 8 gigs of RAM, and a 256 gig PCIe SSD, and Intel UHD Graphics 620. So now I will clarify, those UHD Graphics 620, those graphics specifically are going to be less than most requirements to run things like content creation and gaming. So this laptop is going to be used for
onboard
day
Intel
tasks.
graphics.
Yeah, they are. So have fun with that. So I'm not going to run Adobe Premiere Pro on here. Obviously, it doesn't run in Linux because it's not
a Linux app.
It's not a Linux app. You can run it in Wine, have fun with that, but I'm not going to. But you can use this laptop for day-to-day tasks, for watching Netflix, for playing games in the browser, for browsing necessarily, and for doing a bunch of your regular work, like using open source Office apps to run Excel and spreadsheets.
But I mean, like the development, it's probably like people are running development environments, they're coding app, they're compiling stuff.
Yeah, like you can see I have my terminal open here. Lolcat is one of the best things you can run in the terminal because it turns your terminal into a rainbow. But the updated operating system is Ubuntu 18.04, which came out earlier this year. You save money by getting Ubuntu instead of Windows, and it's LTS, which is their long-term support, which means that this version of this operating system will be supported for a long period of time by Ubuntu, which is great. Now, it's built with the same CNC aluminum body as the other Dell XPS 13, so I'm not going to get really into detail with that because you've already seen it plenty of times here. And the carbon fiber palm rest on the top is really nice. It has that soft touch coating. It has that 13.3-inch display with the webcam in the middle, which is an update from the older ones that had it on the side. So sorry, Patrick, it's not at the top, but you do get those tiny bezels.
It's okay.
The bezels are very tiny and they're really pretty. The display is a 1920 by 1080. It's an IPS panel with infinity edge, as you can see, and it's an excellent, excellent screen. Good contrast.
Did they do a touch panel on that one, or is it a regular panel?
Yeah, dude, I can totally touch things. It's awesome. It's good contrast, great viewing angles from side to side. The brightness is 400 nits, which is also very good. Yeah, it's very, very bright. The keyboard is a chiclet keyboard, as you can see. It's backlit though, which is great, and it's a 1.3 millimeter travel. Now, I'm used to that chiclet keyboard due to having a Dell XPS myself, but it is a smaller keyboard than larger laptops, like a giant 15-inch Razer Blade or a 15-inch Alienware. Now, I love the touchpad. It's responsive, it's glass, so that's easy to use, just like the keyboard. I just like it overall. It's very, very easy to use. Yeah. It's very comfortable too.
I mean, Lenovo on their business models may have a better keyboard,
yeah,
but this will hang with pretty much any
oh, yeah,
premium laptop out there in terms of keyboard and mouse and input devices.
Yeah, totally. I agree. And it's lightweight too. It's 2.67 pounds, so it's compact. It's really easy to travel. I can hold it in my hand and not get tired, which I love. I've taken my older XPS 13 Dev Edition to conventions like DEF CON, and I could fit the thing in a large purse. I could carry it around with me all day and not feel tired, and I love that about this machine. Now, as far as ports go, you have two sides of ports. Doesn't have everything due to its size, but it still has two Thunderbolt 3 ports with power delivery, DisplayPort, one USB 3.1 with power delivery and DisplayPort. There's a card reader, which I'm super excited about. There's a headphone jack and a Noble block, and the power button on the top has an optional fingerprint reader if you want it.
That's another nice upgrade because the previous generation of XPSs had the fingerprint reader.
Yeah,
you can just see it
was
right
separate
there.
down at the bottom.
So that's pretty slick that they embedded it in the
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You may be wondering how long it lasts. They state 19 hours with the 52 watt-hour battery.
Wow.
Honestly, I haven't been awake for 19 hours straight to test that. But it does easily last all day on a charge, so I can say it'll last at least 14 to 16 hours, depending.
That's pretty awesome because that was one of the places where Linux used to be so poorly implemented compared to Windows.
It was bad, but the battery on this lasts a very long time. So if you are a developer and you're working in Ubuntu constantly, it's a good choice. The Dev Edition with Ubuntu is, of course, aimed at developers, like I said. It's aimed at Linux users. It's great for admins. It's great for hackers, especially if you're working at a company, for example, and you're running a Linux platform on your server. You might want to run Linux on your desktop as well. So in that case, it would be a really, really good option. Not so much for content creators, though. So for my example, I use Adobe Premiere Pro. I use a lot of editing. I do game a lot. Now you can game in Ubuntu now. However, this doesn't have the good graphics that you would want to be able to game. So since you aren't paying for a Windows license, this one specifically comes in at $980, and you can see that over on the Dell website. But the specs are very much the same as the rest of the XPS 13 line.
Well, how much do you save compared to, like, is it $100? Is it $20?
It's about $100 that you save with the same exact specs that you would get with a Windows 10 laptop from the XPS 13 line. Yeah, you can get a cheaper Windows 10 box than this one at $980. The Windows 10 one that's cheaper than this, though, has a smaller solid-state drive, but I believe it has a little more RAM. Don't quote me on that. Check the website. But they do have a lot of different options. So this is the one that I like, though. It's the Dell XPS 13 Developer Edition 2018. If Ubuntu isn't your specialty, though, you can opt for a 13 that comes with Windows 10. So I like that Dell has so many options for people, but the dev option is obviously my personal favorite.
It's all Linuxy.
I love it. Let me know what you think and what your favorite Linux laptop is. If you haven't bought one yet, let me know if you have any questions about what you're looking for. And I would love to answer those for you because I guess you could say I'm our resident Linux person. So I'm happy to answer those for you.
I play with Linux when I have to. It usually involves Raspberry Pis.
I play with Linux like every day. So ask at TekThing.com, or you can tweet me personally. I'm at Snubs on Twitter.
We love your questions, your tips, and your suggestions, your products and ideas to check out. There's so many of you, and there's so many interesting things out there. Come on, tell us what you're interested in, because we want to explore it with you. You can tweet at TekThing, at Snubs, or at Patrick Dorton, or just email ask@tekthing.com. And a big shout out to our patrons, patreon.com/TekThing. You make the show possible. Our thanks to you. And hey, if you're not a patron, do me a favor. Go over to patreon.com/TekThing and check it out. Join the crew that makes the show happen each and every week. A few weeks ago, Amazon ran a sale on SanDisk 400GB MicroSD cards. There's one right there. And since it was selling for less than what I paid for a 120GB MicroSD SDXC card last year or a little bit before that, I decided to see ladies and gentlemen, for like, I think it was like $90 for 400 gigabytes of storage.
Whoa.
So I decided to see if the Motorola G6 I bought could jump from 32 gigabytes of storage to 432 gigabytes of storage.
What?
Okay, so Motorola, it's funny, right? Because we see a lot of odd specs on phones.
Yeah.
Motorola specs a micro SD card slot at 128 gigabytes, or more accurately, Motorola will only support 128 gigabyte cards because the Moto G6 supports the SDXC micro SD spec, which has a limit of 2 terabytes.
Yep.
Exciting stuff.
Okay.
Now, 2 terabyte cards don't exist right now. The whole 2 terabyte thing is kind of theoretically. There aren't any 2 terabyte micro SD cards, and the micro SD card capacity on your device can be capped by the controller, by the formatting. Say, if for some reason your device needs FAT32 and not exFAT, you are not going to get a 2 terabyte FAT32 card. Or it has been suggested to me by the firmware, or within the firmware or the operating system updates sent by the manufacturer. I don't have any confirmation of this, but the idea is that a manufacturer could, if they wanted to, make it difficult for you to run larger cards.
Good to know.
If you happen to work for a phone manufacturer in the coding or in the firmware, please, by all means, let me know if you have the inside information. So I knew folks that ran 256 gigabyte cards in Motorola G4 phones, which was the previous, or one of the even less expensive phones. That was no guarantee that the phone would work with a 400 gigabyte card, but I had to find out. I mean, part of what's funny, right, is the specs are kind of all over the place. As far as I know, this doesn't actually support 802.11ac.
Oh.
Go figure.
Okay.
So check it out. Even after downloading several dozen albums of lossless music, FLAC and Cobuzz, and like a couple series on Netflix, I still have approximately 368 gigabytes of storage remaining.
Really?
Yeah, actually,
Whoa.
yeah. I have more storage than your Pixel 3.
The Pixel 3 that I don't have in my hands yet.
Well, the Pixel 3
but you're
going
right.
to have.
No, I are there any phones that can do that much, that actually sell with that much? I don't think there are.
I think there's 256 gigabyte phones. I don't think I've seen any 512 gigabyte phones yet.
I haven't either.
I also point out, I ran it in portable mode rather than like internal mode. Because if you make it a part of Android, then if the card fails, you basically have to start over again and with a new card and install your phone. So I basically made it portable, and I stuffed music files and video files there by application, just to keep one corner of my life simple. So yes, literally, I have all the storage, Woot, and also Woot, if you haven't seen it yet, the capacities are going up. Oh, there it is. The new SDUC standard was announced this summer by the SD Card Association. 2 terabytes up to 128 terabytes. 128 terabytes of storage. Yeah. And they're claiming up to 985 megabytes per second transfers. There are no products using it yet. There are no products that can use it yet. There are no SDUC cards. But, just so you know there. And I also got to say, not Woot or an anti-Woot or a digging through speed class details. Well, I mean, have you ever spent quality time looking at, so this is like the minimum sequential write speed, right? So we've got like C2, C4, C6, C10. And it turns out that basically
that's
like
some
the
fun
UHS
stuff
speed.
right there.
Yeah, so C10, U1, and V10 are all basically the same, and U3 and V30 are basically the same. And then there's also the new V60 and V90, which will basically, this will take you up through 8K video. And I think the only people who care about this are people who are planning on using these cards for several years in the future.
Yeah.
But I was also laughing because there's also A1 and A2 cards. Which is really crazy. So there's a new A2 micro SD spec, and Sasha Sagan over PC Mag wrote a great article on it. So they promise to be indistinguishable for your from your internal memory or storage, like the stuff that's built onto the motherboard.
Cool.
If you want to run your micro SD in adoptable storage mode, and you don't want to feel like you're waiting forever for an app to load from your SD card.
Yeah, that's always fun.
And Sasha points out in the article, there are no phones capable of A2 performance yet. But if you're shopping for micro SD cards, look, kids, A2 certification.
Oh, hey.
See, look, there we got U3, A2,
It
V30. Like I spent a bunch of time puzzling this out.
Yeah.
The one I bought was the slower C10 spec. It's also A1, so I won't get the A2. I can run apps off this, but not nearly as fast as I can load apps off of this. Yeah. But yeah, I mean the price on the faster cards, like this is the V30 card, the same 400 gigabytes of capacity, not the same
capacity.
card. $250 for V30 performance, A2 performance versus $114.
Oh wow.
For C10. So
there's a slight difference there.
Yeah, this is like 10 megabits. This is like 30 megabits.
Yeah.
So let me check that. Yeah, 30 megabytes. Sorry, megabytes, not megabits. Capital B is megabytes. So this card is let me stop doing that, people. This card is 3 times as fast as this card.
And it's temporarily out of stock too.
I'm so sorry. It was that sale.
Ruined my life.
So now, that was one of my big frustrations was this with this phone was like I immediately had to stuff an SD card into it so I could download stuff. But now I have 400 gigabytes of storage.
That's crazy and really cool.
I'm excited. I can now download all of the music.
That's awesome.
So for your Sony A9000 Wonder camera, are you using
A7R2?
Thank you. It has a lovely sensor, people.
I'm using these little BBs. They're adorable. They're my little BBs. Although it's not a micro SD card, but I'll tell you about it anyway. It's fast, and I love it. It's the SanDisk Extreme Pro SDXC UHS-1 cards. They're really, really lovely. They are class 10, U3, V30, so they're good for 4K, and I usually use a 128 gig card. I do shoot very, very large photos.
Right.
They're big, they're raw photos, so they have a lot of information in those files, and they take up a lot of space. So having fast saves to the card was a must, and this one does the trick. It does great.
When you're shooting in burst mode, like somebody did the math and what like 5 of these gigantic, even if you hit, it's.
You have to have a fast card if you want to shoot a whole bunch of photos in a row, like burst mode, for example. However, I do want to mention, make sure that you don't end up with a fake slower card. While I was looking this up on Amazon, I was reading the reviews to see if everybody else loved this card as much as I do. Turns out they've had some bootlegs out there. So the real ones have a serial number on the back, a shiny sticker, and there's this little gray lock tab right there. The fake ones have a yellow tab, no serial, and they have a matte sticker on the front. So a few folks on Amazon have had this issue, depending on who the seller was. So check the seller, make sure it's coming from Amazon, not a third party, and then you can purchase it. But if you do get one that is a bootleg, you can send it back. Amazon has a great return policy. Mine are real, so I'm very happy about that. They have the serial number on the back and everything, and they are very fast. And I've had these for 2 years almost.
Yeah.
They haven't failed me yet, and I use them all the time.
Well, the Extreme Pro are more expensive, but they also are more durable.
Yeah.
I want to say one of the tests I saw, they were 30% faster than the other V30 cards in terms of overall write performance.
Dope.
And also, what she said, buy from Amazon or another vetted source.
Yeah.
Because at one point, SanDisk was estimating 30% of the SD cards being sold were fake. Basically, like, never buy an SD card off of eBay.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Well, good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I hope that helped, and I'm very interested in the newer cards. I can't wait to play with them.
Faster.
Faster.
Bigger.
Over 9,000. Faster and more intense.
Well, I mean, think about something a quarter the size of that having 128 terabytes on it.
That's so amazing.
It's also far in the future.
I sense a credit card pay going on Amazon soon, because I like to spend money on SD cards. Yay, technology. Ask at TekThing.com if you have any questions about little cards like this one or micro SD cards. We would love to answer them for you. We got a tweet from @WildcardFoxy, who tweets, @TekThing, Best Buy still makes inexpensive dumb TVs. I'm not allowed to upgrade until mine breaks, and 6 years later it just won't die. Send help.
So you gotta love a $200 television
that's great.
Got like where is it? Somewhere around here. There it is. 4.6 out of 5
Wow.
on 1,600 reviews.
Hey, that's great.
But so this is not 4K. It's not HDR. This is a perfect this is
dumb
not
TV.
Yes. But in terms of if you want a 4K HDR TV that's gonna do the best job displaying your super awesome Blu-ray video, this is not the television for it. But $200 is cheap.
Yes.
And people like it.
Yes.
So here's what I'm thinking. Do you have cats? I would say a tragic falling accident for the TV because the cat climbed up on it Or perhaps while performing home improvements, you could accidentally put a hammer through the screen. Totally goes against my reduce, reuse, recycle belief system.
Me too.
But it would give you the excuse you need to upgrade to a newer television.
Are we really scheming?
We're scheming here. You could also, more legit, call out LED backlighting degradation, because at this point, you know, if your monitor is 6 years old, there's a good chance it's probably 50% dimmer than it was, maybe worse than when you first bought it.
Maybe that's why my
especially
TV
if
at
it's
home
been
is so
running.
dark.
I actually have to replace the bulb in my projector, because the bulb in my projector is below 50% of its original brightness at this point.
My
'Cause
TV
it's
is
like,
super dark at home. Whenever I watch scary movies, I can't see what's happening on the screen.
scary movies are great for HDR, but we'll just go way on a loop on that one.
That's true.
So you'll be like, it's too dark. We can't watch it in daylight anymore. Honey, it's time to upgrade the television. So
It's time.
cat damage, hammer damage, force majeure, the light's too dim.
All the
I'll
things.
buy you this new toilet you want for the bathroom if you let me get a new TV. I'm out of ideas. If you got one, email ask@TekThing.com. We also got a tragic tweet.
Oh no.
Yes, actually, let me pull it up here. That's Paul Henman tweets, back up your NAS. Yes, especially when, as I suffered a couple weeks ago, a firmware update destroys your RAID 5 volume, but you only discover this after downgrading, and then all your data is gone.
Oh no.
Backups for the win.
Oh no.
Oh no
Paul.
is right.
Paul.
Yeah.
We have taught you better, Paul. Just kidding.
We actually only recently, it wasn't that long ago that I talked about using backblades. Episode 193, which is just 6 episodes ago.
Oh.
I think that's the first time we really got in depth about backing up your NAS.
True.
But if you're not backing up your NAS, remember, if something happens to your NAS, everything backed up on your NAS.
Yeah, it disappears.
In shinier news, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a shout out to our friends at Hack5, hack5.org. If you haven't been there, these are the people, it looks a lot like Shannon, that provide the studios. But actually, Darren, it's Darren's house we're in here at Hack5. And if you haven't checked out the Security and Privacy Podcast at hack5.org, you should, because there's ThreatWire, there's a sign up today thing here, which you should sign up for. And then once you're done with that, kids, just go over to hack5.com/gear. They have a new website. Oh, yeah. We love to hack. And ladies and gentlemen, the pictures are pretty. The products are better. Some of the best pen testing and USB automation tools available anywhere over at hack5.org/gear, or shop.hack5.org is another option for that.
Yay!
Look, I eventually pointed myself towards the right camera.
And remember, once in a while, put down your phone, step away from the screen, close your laptop. I'm not going to close mine because I have the photos on mine. And step away and do something analog, like that Charlie dude who emailed ask@tekthing.com, and he said, hey, when I need a break from the screens, I take perfectly good wood and turn them into bowls and mugs.
Nice.
And he included a slew of photos of these incredible, incredible pieces of art that he's made. Look at that. It's so beautiful.
It's so feisty.
I know, right? It's very, very cool.
Can I have a flagon of...
That's some serious art. You could sell that on Etsy, dude. Yeah, you do a great job. So thank you so much for sending that in. That's amazing. And of course, if you have an analog pic, we would love to share it with the show. Yeah. You can email it ask@tekthing.com, or you can tweet us @tekthing too. We accept pictures. We like photos of the cool things that you do.
Videos are nice too.
Videos are nice.
Let us know what you're doing. I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Shannon Morris.
We'll see you next week on TekThing.
I'm doing something kind of analog. I'm flying down to Austin this week.
He's flying down to Austin.
For the F1 races. Well, at least the qualifying.
Bring ear protection.
Yes, I am bringing a load of ear plugs.
Yes.
Because
they're loud.
I heard they're very loud. I mean, I can hear the ones from the North Bay, and I don't even live in the North Bay, and that's not even an F1 race. That's just like...
That's like the extreme North Bay you're thinking of. Sears Point. It is loud when they're going there.
Yeah.
Well, it's like...
I'm excited. I've never seen a big race like this. Cool.
Are you gonna do a pit tour?
I think so.
Is there gonna be fancy food?
I hope so, because I really like food. So if they're not eating, they're not feeding me.
Well,
I
are
might
you gonna
just
be in
leave
Austin?
early. Yeah.
The Salt Lake. Gotta go eat barbecue on the Salt Lake.
Oh, gotcha.
Magnolia Cafe is a good place to get migas. Migas is a very Texas-y kind of breakfast
Really?
thing. It's the best.